Hello, and the gigantic warm welcome to English Made Easy. We are so thrilled you've chosen to spend some time with us today. If this is your first time here, our whole purpose, the reason we make these videos, is to help you learn English in the simplest, most enjoyable, and most effective way we possibly can. We want to strip away all the complicated, boring parts of learning and just focus on what truly helps you speak with confidence.
That's it exactly. We're not about memorizing endless lists of rules that you'll forget tomorrow. We are all about real, practical English that you can take from this video and use in a conversation this afternoon. And speaking of practical, today we have something incredibly powerful planned for you. It's a special kind of exercise we've designed. We call it the super sentence method.
It has a bit of a superhero name, doesn't it? The super sentence method. But I promise the idea behind it is so simple and so effective. We're going to start with a tiny, easy sentence, just 2 or 3 words, a baby sentence. Then at each level of our workout, we'll add a little more information, a new detail, a new description. It's exactly like building with Legos. You start with one small, simple block, and you feel good. Then you click another one on top, and another. Before you know it, without even realizing how much you've done, you'll have built a masterpiece, a big, complex, impressive sentence that tells a whole story.
And the workout part of the name is really the most important concept here. This isn't a passive lesson where you just listen. Today, you are actively training. Every single time you say these sentences out loud with us, you are building connections in your brain and training the muscles of your mouth, your tongue, and your lips. You're teaching them the dance of English sounds so that when you're in a real-life situation, the words can flow without you having to think so hard about every single one. This is the real secret to developing fluency.
It really is, and that leads us to the single most important rule of this entire session. You have to promise us you will speak out loud. Right now. Are you ready? It's a deal between us. Even if you're in a quiet place like a library or on a train and you're just whispering to yourself, that's perfect. Say it with us. The physical act of forming the words is how you build the natural rhythm and music of a native speaker. It's the magic key. So, are you ready to begin the workout?
I'm ready. Let's lay down that first Lego block.
Okay. Here we go. We are starting at the very beginning of our story. The absolute simplest idea, just 3 words. A subject, a verb, and a state of being. I want you to listen carefully and then repeat it with me. Ready? He was late.
He was late.
Now it's your turn. Let's say it together one more time. Nice and slow, nice and clear. He was late.
That's it. Level 1 is complete. It doesn't get much simpler than that, does it? He was late. It's a complete sentence. It has a subject, he, and a verb, was. It's grammatically perfect, but as a story, it's not much of a story. It's like the title of a book with no pages inside. He was late for what? Why does it matter? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? We have no context at all.
You're so right. It's a fact without any feeling. It's a black and white photograph. To make it interesting, we need to add some color. We need to add details. In English, this is what we do constantly. We state a main idea like he was late, and then we immediately start adding more information to paint a clearer picture for the person we're talking to. Let's add the first, most important piece of information. What was he late for?
Let's build on our foundation.
Okay, for our second level, we're going to add a simple phrase that answers that question. What was he late for? This will immediately give our sentence a sense of importance and consequence. Here is the new, slightly longer sentence. Listen first. He was late for an interview.
He was late for an interview. Okay, now we have a situation. Now we have stakes. Being late for coffee with a friend is one thing. Being late for a job interview, that's a much bigger problem. Instantly, I feel a little bit of stress for this person. I can feel the story beginning.
Exactly. The feeling changes completely. Let's all practice saying it together. And remember, speak out loud with us. Try to connect the words so they flow together, not
He was late for an interview, but more like he was late for an interview. Listen to that natural connection. He was late for an interview.
Your turn now. Say it with us. Feel that little bit of tension in the sentence. He was late for an interview.
Great job. A job interview is such a universal experience of pressure, isn't it? It's a situation that many people around the world have gone through. You have to dress nicely, you have to be prepared to answer difficult questions, you have to sell yourself and your skills. There's a lot of pressure to make a good first impression.
Absolutely. And in many cultures, especially in the professional world of countries like the UK, the United States, or Germany, punctuality, being on time, is incredibly important. Arriving late for an interview can be a huge red flag for a potential employer. It might suggest that you are disorganized, or that you don't respect their time, or that you don't really care about the job. So our character here is already starting in a very bad position.
That's such a crucial cultural point. So we know what he was late for. We understand the situation is serious, but we still don't know anything about him. How is he feeling inside? Right now, he is just he. Let's get inside his head a little bit and add an adjective that describes his emotional state.
Let's do that. For level 3, we're just adding one single word, a simple adjective. But watch how this one word transforms the sentence from a simple statement of fact into a window into this man's feelings. It's incredible how much work one little word can do. Here is the new sentence. The anxious man was late for an interview.
The anxious man was late for an interview. Oh, yes. Anxious. That's the perfect word. Now I don't just understand his situation. I can feel his situation. I can feel his heart beating a little bit faster. Maybe his palms are sweating. The word anxious is that feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease about something with an uncertain outcome. And a job interview is the definition of an uncertain outcome.
It really is. He doesn't know what they'll ask. He doesn't know if they'll like him. He doesn't know if he'll get the job. So anxious is the perfect word to describe his state of mind. Let's all say it together. Try to feel that emotion as you say the word, anxious. The anxious man was late for an interview. Let's try that again. Join us. Let the words flow. The anxious man was late for an interview.
We've all felt anxious before. Maybe you feel anxious before you have to give a presentation in front of a lot of people, or maybe you feel anxious when you're waiting for important news. It's a very human emotion. It's related to nervous or worried, but anxious often suggests a stronger feeling of fear about what might happen in the future.
I get really anxious when I have to fly on an airplane. Even though I know it's very safe, I have this feeling of unease that I can't control. This man in our story, his anxiety is probably through the roof. He's anxious about the interview itself, and now he has the extra anxiety of being late. It's a double dose of stress.
It's a terrible combination. So we know how he feels, but a big question is still unanswered. Why was he late? Was it his fault? Was it something he couldn't control? The reason behind his lateness is a huge part of the story. Let's add that next. This time, we're going to add a clause of reason. That's just a technical way of saying we're going to explain the reason why something happened. We often do this in English using the word because. It's one of the most useful words in the language. It connects an action to its cause. For example, I am tired because I didn't sleep well. Let's find out the cause of our man's problem. The anxious man was late for an interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Oh, that feeling. That is one of the worst feelings in the world. You wake up, you see the sunlight coming through your window, you feel relaxed for a second, and then you look at the clock, and that pure panic just washes over you. Your heart drops into your stomach. It wasn't his fault, not really. It was a technology failure.
It's a nightmare scenario, isn't it? His alarm didn't go off. Maybe his phone died overnight. Maybe he said it for p.m. instead of a.m. We've all been there, or we've all had a nightmare about being there. This detail makes me feel so much more sympathy for him. He's not lazy or disorganized. He's a victim of bad luck.
I had this happen to me once before a final exam at university. I woke up 10 minutes before the exam was supposed to start. I have never gotten dressed and run so fast in my entire life. I didn't even brush my teeth. It was pure chaos. I can feel this man's panic just thinking about it. Okay, everyone, let's practice this new longer sentence. We're adding more pieces to our Lego tower. Take a deep breath and say it with us. Let's start slow. The anxious man was late for an interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Now let's try to say it a bit more naturally, a bit faster. The whole thing is one single thought. Ready? The anxious man was late for an interview because his alarm didn't go off.
How did that feel? You're now explaining a problem and its cause in one complete flowing sentence. This is a huge skill. So we know the situation, we know his feelings, and we know the reason. But we can still add more detail to make the story even more powerful. Not all interviews are the same. Let's raise the stakes. Let's make this interview even more significant.
In this next level, we're going to do something very simple but very effective. We're going to add one more adjective. We already have the adjective anxious to describe the man. Now we're going to add an adjective to describe the interview. This will increase the tension of the story even more. Here's the new version of our super sentence. The anxious man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Ah, there it is. Important. That one word makes everything so much worse for him. It wasn't just an interview, it was the interview. Maybe it was for his dream job, the one he had been hoping for years. Maybe it was for a job that paid much more money and could change his family's life. The word important tells us that the consequences of being late are very, very high.
It adds so much weight to the situation. It's the difference between a movie about a character who loses $5 and a movie about a character who loses his life savings. The stakes are higher, so we, the audience, are more invested. We care more. Okay, everyone, let's put it all together now. The sentence is growing, but so is your ability to say it. Let's say it with confidence. The anxious man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Let's do that one more time. Try to feel the weight of that word, important. It adds stress to the whole sentence. Listen to the rhythm. The anxious man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Let's say it together now. The anxious man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Fantastic. You are now comfortably saying a sentence that describes a person, their emotional state, their difficult situation, the high stakes of that situation, and the unlucky reason for the problem. This is a solid, descriptive B1 level sentence, but I think we can do better. I think we can elevate our language. Let's take one of the words we already have and swap it for a more vivid, more advanced, and much more fun word.
I love that idea. This is how you move from being a good English speaker to a great English speaker. You learn different, more precise, more interesting ways to describe the same feeling. Let's do it. We're going to focus on that word anxious. It's a good word, a very useful word. But there's another word we can use that perfectly captures the feeling of confusion and panic that comes from waking up late. It's a C1 level word, and it's one of my absolute favorites. It's so much fun to say. Here is the new sentence. The discombobulated man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Whoa, what a word! Discombobulated. That is a seriously cool word. It sounds exactly like what it means. It sounds a little bit clumsy and confused. What's the precise meaning?
Isn't it great? It's one of those words that just feels right. Let's break down discombobulated. First, the meaning. To be discombobulated means to be confused and disorganized. It's more than just being anxious. It's when your brain feels like it's been all shaken up. You can't think clearly, you wake up late, you can't find your keys, you put your shirt on backwards, you spill coffee on yourself. That whole chaotic, messy, confused state is the feeling of being discombobulated.
So it's confusion and disorder mixed together. Like when you get off a long flight in a new country where you don't speak the language and everything feels strange and you don't know which way to go. That's a feeling of being discombobulated. Our man is in that state. His brain isn't working properly because of the panic.
That's a perfect example. Now for the pronunciation. This is a long one, but it's fun. It has 6 syllables. Listen carefully. Dis, come, bob, you, lay, tid. Discombobulated. The main stress is on the 3rd syllable, bob. Let's try it very slowly together. Dis, come, bob, you, lay, tid.
Discombobulated. Discombobulated. It's like a little song.
It is. And finally, for some easy synonyms, you can think of words like confused, flustered, or bewildered. He was a confused man. He was a flustered man. But discombobulated is so much more descriptive. It paints a much better picture of his internal chaos.
I love it. It really elevates the sentence. He isn't just worried. His whole world has been turned upside down in a moment. He's mentally clumsy and panicked. This word adds so much personality to our character.
It really does. Okay, now it's time to practice. This is our first time using this new big word in the full sentence. Let's not be afraid of it. Let's say it loud and proud. We'll go slowly. The discombobulated man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
That was great. Let's try it again. This time, really enjoy saying that wonderful new word. Make it the star of the sentence. The discombobulated man was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
You are doing so well. Our story is becoming richer and more sophisticated with every level, but we can still add more layers. Right now, we only know about this one moment in time. What about the past? What about the preparation he did before this disastrous morning? Adding that detail will make us feel even more sorry for him. We're at level 7 now, and we're going to add a new kind of clause. It's called a relative clause, and it's a very common way in English to add extra information about a noun. We usually start these clauses with words like who, which, or that. We're going to add a clause that starts with who to tell us more about our discombobulated man. Listen to how this extra piece of history makes his current situation even more tragic. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Oh, that's just heartbreaking. Who had been preparing for weeks. This makes it so much worse. He wasn't lazy. He was the opposite of lazy. He was dedicated. He probably researched the company for hours, practiced his answers in the mirror, bought a new suit. He did everything right. And one stupid little alarm clock ruined it all.
It adds a sense of irony and tragedy, doesn't it? The contrast between his careful preparation and his chaotic morning is so powerful. This little Claus, who had been preparing for weeks, tells us a whole story about his hopes and his hard work. It shows us how much this interview meant to him.
It really does. It's like a movie where you see a montage of the hero training for the big fight, working hard every day, and then on the day of the fight, he trips on the stairs and breaks his leg before he even gets to the ring. It's that feeling of terrible, unfair luck.
That's a perfect analogy. Okay, this sentence is now getting quite complex structurally. We have a main clause and two subordinate clauses. But don't let that technical language scare you. It's just one idea flowing together. Let's practice it. We'll say it slowly and notice the little pauses we make around the new clause. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Those little pauses are like taking a breath. They help the listener understand that you're adding extra information. Let's try it again. Together. Say it with us. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off.
Brilliant. So now our poor man is in a truly desperate situation. He's woken up late, he's unprepared mentally, and all his hard work is about to be for nothing. He has no time to think or plan. He just has to act. There's a fantastic English idiom to describe the situation of having to improvise and act without any preparation. Our man has no time. He can't follow his carefully made plan. He has to throw the plan in the garbage and just go. To describe this kind of improvisation, we have a wonderful visual idiom. It's very common in conversational English. Here is level 8. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants.
The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants. I love that one. Fly by the seat of his pants. It's such a funny image. It makes me think of an old-fashioned airplane pilot with no modern instruments, just using his feelings and instincts to fly the plane. What does it really mean?
That image of the early aviator is exactly where the expression comes from. It's a perfect way to remember it. Let's break it down. First, the meaning. To fly by the seat of your pants means to do something difficult without having the necessary experience, equipment, or a plan. You are relying entirely on your own judgment and intuition and just guessing what you should do next. Our man had a plan for the interview, but now he has to improvise everything: what to wear, how to get there, maybe even what to say.
So, if your boss suddenly asked you to give a presentation in 5 minutes on a topic you know nothing about, you would have to fly by the seat of your pants. You just have to stand up and hope the right words come out.
Exactly. It's all about improvisation and guesswork. For an easy synonym, you could think of the verb to improvise or the phrase to make it up as you go along. The situation was forcing him to improvise. But fly by the seat of his pants is so much more dynamic and interesting.
He has no choice. His careful preparation is useless now. He is in survival mode. All he can do is react. He probably just grabbed the first clothes he could find, didn't have breakfast, and is just running out the door. The image of flying a plane by feel is perfect for his out-of-control, instinct-driven state.
Absolutely. Okay, this sentence is now a real giant, but we can handle it. We've built it piece by piece, so we know it inside and out. Are you ready to practice? We are going to say this together slowly. Let every part of the story have its moment. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants.
That is an epic sentence. Let's try it one more time. See if you can connect all the parts into one long, flowing narrative. Imagine you are telling this dramatic story to a friend. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants.
Unbelievable. You are building such complex ideas now. I can picture him so clearly, in a state of pure panic, just trying to get out the door. We can make that picture even more vivid. What does flying by the seat of his pants actually look like in this situation? Let's add a description of his desperate action. Get ready, because we're going to add a phrase that shows us exactly what our hero's doing. He's not calmly walking. He is in a desperate race against time. We're going to add a phrase to describe this race, and we'll use another brilliant, high-level word to describe the intensity of his panic. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants and sprint through the city in a veritable panic.
Wow. Sprint through the city. I can see it now. He's not jogging, he's sprinting, running as fast as he can, dodging people on the sidewalk, maybe running into the street. And that word, veritable, it's a C2 word. It adds a special kind of emphasis. What does it do here?
That's a fantastic question. Veritable is a very interesting word. It's an adjective that we use to emphasize that something is real and not exaggerated. It's like saying truly or genuinely. Let's break it down. First, the meaning. We use veritable to intensify a metaphor, to say that something can be described as being something else, without exaggeration. For example, if someone has a huge number of books, you could say, his house is a veritable library. You're saying it's not just like a library, it truly is one. In our sentence, a veritable panic means it wasn't just a little bit of worry. It was a true, complete, absolute state of panic.
So it's a way of saying, I'm not joking, this is the real thing. If a child's bedroom is incredibly messy, you could say it's a veritable disaster zone. You're emphasizing the reality and intensity of the mess.
That's a perfect way to think about it. Now, for the pronunciation. It has 4 syllables. Listen. Veritable. Veritable. The stress is on the very first syllable. Ve. Let's try it slowly. Veritable.
Veritable. Veritable.
Perfect. For a simple synonym, you can think of words like real or genuine. He was in a real panic. He was in an absolute panic. Veritable just sounds more formal and emphatic. It adds a touch of literary flair.
I can just see him. His hair is a mess. Maybe his tie is crooked. He's carrying his briefcase and he is just running like a madman. He's a hurricane of anxiety moving through the city. The stress must be unbearable. At this point, I'm just hoping he gets there, even if he's late.
Me too. He's gone through so much. Okay, everyone, we have to practice this. This is our most descriptive and dramatic sentence yet. It's long, it's complex, but it paints such a clear picture. Let's do it. Deep breath. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants and sprint through the city in a veritable panic.
That is a masterpiece of a sentence. Let's try that again. This time, feel the energy of that final phrase. Sprint through the city in a veritable panic. Let your voice have that sense of speed and urgency. The discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants and sprint through the city in a veritable panic.
You are doing an absolutely incredible job. This is an extremely advanced English sentence. But every story needs an ending. He's sprinting through the city. Does he make it? What happens when he arrives? The story isn't over. We need a conclusion. And this is where we're going to add a huge twist, a completely unexpected ending.
Oh, I can't wait. After all the stress and panic, something has to happen. Please tell me it's something good. He deserved it.
Well, it's certainly something surprising.
We are going to add one final clause that describes what he found when he finally arrived, breathless and panicked. This clause will change the meaning of the entire story. And we'll start the whole sentence with a phrase that expresses his complete and total surprise using our final advanced word. To his utter astonishment, the discombobulated man who had been preparing for weeks was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off, forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants and sprint through the city in a veritable panic, only to arrive and find the entire office was a surprise party for his birthday.
Oh my gosh, a surprise party. There was no interview. It was all a trick. Oh, that is the best ending. I feel so relieved for him. He thinks he's ruined his life. He's in the worst possible situation. And then he opens the door and everyone shouts, "Surprise!" That is just brilliant. Let's talk about that opening phrase. To his utter astonishment. Utter astonishment.
It's a great phrase to express extreme surprise. Let's look at the word utter. First, the meaning. The adjective utter means complete or absolute. We use it to add emphasis to a noun, usually a noun that describes a strong feeling or a state. For example, utter chaos means complete and total chaos. Utter nonsense means something is completely ridiculous. So utter astonishment means complete and total shock and surprise. He wasn't just a little surprised, he was 100% astonished.
So it's like a super-powered version of the word very. You wouldn't say he was utter happy. It doesn't work with every word. It's for these strong absolute states: utter confusion, utter disbelief, utter joy.
That's a fantastic point. It's used with these powerful nouns. Now for the pronunciation. It's very simple. 2 syllables. Utter. Utter. The stress is on the first syllable. It sounds just like the word butter, but with no B at the start. Utter.
Utter.
Perfect. And for some easy synonyms, you can think of complete, total, or absolute. To his complete astonishment, to his total surprise. Utter is just a very strong and common way to express this.
I can just imagine his face. He burst through the door, sweating, out of breath, ready to apologize and beg for the job. And he sees balloons, cake, and all his friends and colleagues smiling at him. The emotional journey he goes on in that 1 second, from absolute panic to confusion and then to relief and happiness, it's incredible. What a good group of friends, but also what a cruel trick to play on someone.
It's a little mean, but with a very happy ending. And it is our final, complete, glorious super sentence. This is the ultimate challenge. It contains our entire story. It has advanced vocabulary, an idiom, complex clauses, and a full narrative arc, with a beginning, a middle, and a wonderfully surprising end. Are you ready to say the whole thing? We will do it together. We will do it slowly and with feeling. Let's conquer this sentence. To his utter astonishment, the discombobulated man, who had been preparing for weeks, was late for an important interview because his alarm didn't go off,
forcing him to fly by the seat of his pants and sprint through the city in a veritable panic, only to arrive and find the entire office was a surprise party for his birthday.
Wow, we did it. More importantly, you did it. You just said a sentence that would be considered long and complex for a native speaker. You should feel incredibly proud of the workout you've just done.
Absolutely.
Now it's your turn to tell us a story.
Tell us about a time you were extremely worried or panicked about something, but it turned out to be completely fine or maybe even wonderful in the end. What was the situation that made you so anxious, and what was the surprising outcome that made you feel relieved?
Try to write your story down in the comment section below. And please remember what we always say, do not worry about making mistakes. Grammatical errors, spelling mistakes, they do not matter. The only goal is to share your story and to practice communicating. That is how we learn. The community here is so supportive. We all help each other grow.
Thank you so much for joining us today and for putting in such amazing effort. This kind of focused practice, making sentences longer and more complex, is one of the best things you can do for your fluency. Try to make it a daily habit. Take a simple idea and see how much detail you can add.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and know that you are getting better every single day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.